Hello, everybody. I've got a real special guest with me today. I've got Amanda with me today, and I've been a friend with Amanda for just over a year and a half, maybe. And so we've kind of gotten, I believe, into the raw food type of lifestyle around the same time. We had some mutual friends, and we connected in dialogue around some other friends' posts, and we just seem to be having on the same similar energy, and I'm super excited to have a chance to talk with her, Tira. I've captured her in Spain, and she's on a world tour. Like, how exciting is that? She's been on the road since January, so she's been on the road for about 6 months. She's just stepping out and being brave and building her online coaching business, her life coaching business, and having a life experience herself, traveling the world, touring the world. She's been around the world. Maybe we'll get her to talk a little bit about where she's been a bit. So she's a life coach. I think she used to be a nurse. I believe so, or do something in the medical or health.
No, not a...
What were you before?
No, actually. Oh, I was a database analyst, believe it or not.
A database analyst.
Yeah, and actually, I've always been into health and fitness since I was young, and I was the only person in my entire family of 6 that just chose to work out. And my parents didn't work out. Nobody worked out. I just decided to do it once I saw what it was, like age 15, Gilad Janklowitz on ESPN. And I just was like, wow, this looks so fun. So every day after school, I'd come home and start working out with Gilad Janklowitz. And that's how I started my workout and health journey. And then I started making my own food at home because I wanted to be eating healthy. So that's how it started.
Cool.
I know.
And then now, how long have you been in the raw food detoxification type of lifestyle?
Okay, so that's a great question, because that's a fine line, because as your consciousness emerges, you gain more recognition of what's actually going on. And I think I didn't know I was really detoxifying probably for the first year and a half. I didn't even understand what was happening, why I was, I'd be like, oh, this seems to be helping. I want to make sure my nutrition is right. So I started with that, with the modern diet, and like, I'll make sure I got my, my brown rice, and I've got this and this, like that, lean chicken and stuff like that. And then after that, I was like, well, it doesn't seem to be helping my health condition. And then I'd look for more, right? And then I heard about vegan, and I was like, what's that? I hear people heal on that. What is that? Okay. And then I tried some vegan, and it kind of moved me a little bit more. But then it wasn't moving me again. I was like, all right, now I'm looking again. And then I found Dr. Sebi's healing diet. And I'm like, oh, there's a specific...
Cool. Yeah, Dr. Sebi, love Dr. Sebi.
I love Dr.
Nice.
Sebi. Yeah. And so so I would say, once I became more aware of the word detoxification, honestly, it's only been probably a year and a half since I've known that word.
Yeah.
But I've been doing this process for about 3.5 years.
So that's it. I started with like alkalizing with juice, juicing, because I had to alkalize my body. So I was doing that, but I was still eating chicken, and I was still eating meat, and maintaining my protein requirement, thinking that was what I needed to do. So I was, as much as I was alkalizing my body, I was polluting my body with acid forming foods. So I was like forward and back. I was, but I guess I was more forward than I was, not using the juice and the more alkaline foods. But definitely, it took a while to have a deeper understanding of the process and the truth, and realize
yeah, exactly.
that protein is really just a sales pitch.
Yes, it's just a particular lens. It's a sales pitch. Exactly. It's marketing.
It's just marketing. Yeah. Protein sales, and the need for protein and protein requirements is just marketing. Agreed?
Agreed. Totally. Yep.
It's just selling factory farming to the world, to the West.
Oh, absolutely. And even vegans actually have, on average, 60 grams of protein, which is like more than 3 times the minimum recommended amount, which a recommended amount is still a lot more than what you really need. So even vegans are getting hammered with it, like eat beans, eat tons of soya products.
Yes, right. Even the vegans are buying. Yes, right. Right, or the vegan protein powders, you know.
That's right.
People can't really let go of this idea that there is no need to worry about protein. And Amanda,
Exactly.
so what do you tell people about that? Like, why don't we need to worry about protein?
Why don't we? Oh, I missed the question because
Why don't we need to worry about protein?
Oh, well, simple. First of all, well, that's a big question. we never really truly need a lot of protein, and here's the reason why. Because if you think about it, they always say, the general consensus always says, the popular culture says, we need protein because we need healthy growth and to stay strong. But really, when you think about it, well, when do we need healthy growth and when do we need to make the most strength gains? Well, when we're infants and when we're going to toddlership and learning how to freaking walk and crawl, and stand, and that takes a lot of strength and effort, and especially as a natural being. So, in nature. And so, yeah, it's only 1 or 2% of the caloric intake overall for protein in mother's milk. You don't really need that much. And
Exactly.
if nature's growth formula, that's nature's protein shake, is 1 to 2%. That is not much at all. So if that says anything, and so like I say, if growth is the thing and all that, look to the ultimate human growth formula, and that's infant milk, and it only has 1 or 2% proteination.
Therefore, the sales pitch that we need to be at 30% protein for an adult is ridiculous.
It's ridiculous.
It's ridiculous, and it's making us sick. It's making us overweight. It's making us sick. Mm-hmm. It's making us gain weight, hold on to our weight. And it's leading to all sorts of disease, pain, disease, emotional upset, psychological trauma.
Oh, yeah. It increases the rates of diabetes type 2. It makes sugar increase in your bloodstream. Also, there is such thing as overproteination. And that is actually happening in increasing numbers. Kidney failure and all that kind of stuff. And oxalic acid buildup, which the proteination and the waste products that come from overproteination creates more of the mineralization of collection in the kidneys. Also, the uric acid buildup, which gout is an increasing problem. I know people personally who got gout, and I thought, you got to be kidding me, you're 30. That used to be an old person disease. Not anymore. Not anymore. And what's happened? It's because since 1965, when the fast food revolution took over, that's it.
So protein, let's throw that off the table, guys. Just get rid of it. It's gone. Okay, you don't need it. You don't need it. You need amino acid, and all the amino acids that you need are found in fruits and vegetables. And
that's right.
Fruits are best. So
that's right.
Let's go there next. That's the next one.
Yeah.
Fruits are best. Why does everyone say don't eat fruit?
I think the reason why they say don't eat fruit is because they're doing poor food combining. You can't, if you have a high fat diet, right, and a saturated fat diet or a trans fat diet, even worse, then you throw in fruit sugars, your body is going to be thrown it's like throwing sugar into a carbonator, in a car. It's going to seize the engine. It's not going to work very well because you've conditioned the body, because the body has a gradual adaptation process. And anytime we shock the system with some changes, or, hey, never mind, we're turning left, not right, that's not going to go so well. Our bodies need gradual and continual therapeutic type exposures to whatever foods we're going to be digesting. And so you can't just throw in, fruit on top of, if you've been eating a junk food processed diet for years, and then suddenly I tried fruit and I got really sick. Well, yeah, you're going to get really, really sick. You can't just put like 6 apples in your system when all you've had is junk for like, that's why the crash dieting and all that stuff, it's all the same pattern, no matter what quote unquote crash diet you choose. I don't care if you go the 100% I'm eating only chicken breast diet. Well, you know what? If you went from like freaking vegetarian and not having meat and then went to 100% meat, you're gonna have some trouble there for a while, for multiple reasons. But yeah, so
I think what you're touching on here
are very gradual and progressional
transition
engines, and so you want to gradually shift. And so that's why fruit's a bad name. So like, wow, it's spiking the blood sugar. And then how they're doing the studies, of course, is they're setting it up with the basic. Yeah. And then, of course, how they're doing the studies is they're setting it up like with, quote, typical people. They're not caring what diet they're from. They're just saying, eat an apple, let's test blood sugar. Eat, let's test this. That happens. I'm like, dude, like you have to know what they just ate like 6 hours ago, 16 hours and 24 hours ago, and actually the past 3 weeks to know what their blood lipid counts are and whether or not that's relevant towards their blood sugar spike. You can't just just say, oh, an apple causes this type of spike. Avoid it on diabetes type 2 diet. No.
My gosh. Oh my gosh.
The studies are poorly designed. So you can't come up with that.
Yes, to try and create the incorrect outcomes to mislead the population or direct the population in certain ways, specific ways. So all of the studies, unfortunately, have money, dollars behind them. And so whether it's going to be to release a new medication or it's to release promote a certain food, a certain type of food. So it's mostly for medications, but these dollars that are supporting the studies are always trying to come up with a certain outcome to try to lead the population in a certain way. And they have millions of dollars behind them. So they seem reputable just because they have a lot of lights shining on them. Marketing dollars, commercials. So it seems like it's more important and more valuable and more healthy, but that's not what it is. It's just more rich. It's just got more dollars behind it. That doesn't mean it's healthier. That doesn't mean it's better for you. That doesn't mean that it's going to make you in any way a better human being whatsoever. So, don't be misled. Don't be misled by the numbers of people that are following and toting the protein diet, the keto diet, the paleo diet, this medication that heals and cures, or this product that heals and cures. Because Amanda, I'm not even going to say it. The reason why I talk to people like great, wonderful people like you is because I think my network gets bored of hearing me say the same old things. So I'd rather have someone else say some of the similar things, and I'm not I'm not making you or leading you to say any of these things. You're saying it. You're just saying it yourself because you've come to the same realization that healing happens. How does healing happen? Okay,
great. Actually, that's a super duper awesome I love that question. And I contemplate this often, actually, and I revisit this. See, this is a big thing. Hi audience, in case you don't know me, Amanda, you are welcome to follow me on Facebook, which will give all that information. But
absolutely, it's coming.
Yeah, but also I was going to say that way you can independently evaluate yourself on my own reputability and what I produce, right? So like the Buddha says, don't believe anything until you observe it yourself. Okay. So like for myself, I'm constantly reevaluating what I presume. So I'm not like, oh, that's it. I have the answer to healing. This is all it is. No, it's constantly evolving. I'm always on the edge of consciousness and awareness, and I'm always refining my knowledge. So just so you know, and again, don't take it from my horse's mouth here that I'm self-promoting here. Follow me on Facebook, find out for yourself. And that's how you're going to know. So as we were going to say, so how does healing happen? Woo! I love this question. All right. So how does healing happen? Number one, get rid of the junk that's in the way of nature's process. Okay? Simple. Because mainly we are obstructing our body processes for which our body was designed to eat digest, and eliminate cleanly out of our system, right? Because anytime you eat any biological food, your system is designed to break that down per the species and animal type that you are. And then it will cleanly digest, because nature designed you that way and evolved you over time very carefully and very specifically, because nature is very specific. Nature does not have generalities like this. Like, there are very specific functions for every single being that's created on the earth, and that's due to very specific needs that we all help each other fulfill, like the bees cross-pollinating the flowers. Everything has a very specific function. So that is very important to note, because that means that as human beings, we have very specific diets, just like every other species on the planet. Okay? And so when we're eating things that the body is not designed or has not been evolved to consume, digest, and break down cleanly, what happens? We get a buildup of junk residues from these other things that aren't really food. And what's more dangerous about it, especially nowadays, is we are getting things like, super ultra processed rice, gluten-free products, which means that now we're compounding and pulverizing rice, which in and of itself is a horrible product, by the way.
For our bodies.
For our bodies. Exactly. For our bodies. Very specific. But when you grind, pulverize, and then saponify, which means to make like a soap-like product, which, by the way, I was shocked because I'm also a chemist, when I read some of the components of, like, say, a gluten-free pizza crust that's in a frozen pizza. Saponification has happened. In other words, they made it into a soap-making process. And what they do is they break down the components and glue it back together. So that's how the saponification process makes chemicals that bond. And that's what they're doing. They're making bonds, and because that's how soap works. Soap makes a bond with dirt and oil and grease, and then pulls it away. That's saponification. So that's what's happening. I know I'm like totally like crazy going into my science. Anyway, but what's cool about that is great. It's great. We can make Play-Doh. Awesome. We can make Play-Doh and we can pass it down our pipe, and it seems to not do anything. Yeah. Well, when you're cleaned out, trust me, when you've eliminated all the junk that doesn't eliminate from your body, and your body can purge and clean itself out from all those junk residues as best it can, which, by the way, it might need some help doing that, because we put unnatural things into our body that our bodies aren't designed to break down. The gunk is kind of unnatural too, because it's not what we were designed to consume. And as a result, it may be the body isn't actually exactly designed very well to pull those things out. So now we're in a heap of trouble. Now we've got mercury, we've got cadmium in excess, we have, also other exposures from all these chemical pesticides and really cool stuff that kills other beings, but it won't kill us. Yeah, I don't know about that. But yeah, like, we got that going on, and don't even get me started on glyphosate, how it locks up certain detoxification bonds, by the way, in your molecules in your body. It'll lock it up, and then people get allergy response symptoms to wheat all of a sudden, when actually it's the glyphosate on everything. Yeah, so basically just get rid of the stuff that gets in the way of our natural body's processes, and then the body can start pulling that away. And sometimes, actually most of the time, we do have to employ helpers such as fruits, helpers such as certain herbs can help the body kind of accelerate and push the body to flush. However, I will say this with caution, herbs can overstimulate certain organs, and if you're in a conditioned state where that organ is already tired or worn out or in risk, be careful with that, because it's already in stress, right? So you don't do that to a stressed out or an injured body part, right? Like, you have to kind of wean it back up until you can help it push. And oh yeah, of course, and then fasting, of course, because that's the ultimate getting out of the way. So there we go. That's the healing process. And by the way, that's just for the body part. We're not even getting into the mental and emotional and spiritual, which is a whole nother aspect of healing.
Right. So let's get that. The physical part of the healing is the fruit, the herbs, and the emptiness.
That's right. Yep. You got it.
The fruit, the herbs, and the emptiness. Now, attached to all of that physical healing is that emotional, that spiritual, that psychological healing that must happen too. because
Definitely.
while we've made attachments to incorrect foods and we've put incorrect chemicals and elements inside of our body, there's always a psychological or emotional and attachment there's a thought that kind of connects to every physical element that's in the body. And as we remove those physical elements, you'll find that those thoughts come to the forefront, and it as anxiety, as depression, as frustration, as anger. All of this stuff's going to come up. And you know what? I always find that there is a root incorrect thought that has to be established, identified, and pulled out of there and just removed. It's like a weed that's grown in there. And once you remove that weed, like for me, that protein weed was a real bad one that had to get out of there. And as soon as I realized that, oh my gosh, I don't need protein. I don't need to include protein. I don't need to strive to have protein. Once I was able to overcome that in my mind, that I released a lot of physical junk and bunk from my body. And I was freed up physically, emotionally, psychologically, and was able to access a lot more energy that's available to me. So you touched on another thing there, that health is just kind of a natural thing that's within us. And it's obstructions, toxins and obstructions that are blocking us from our health. And we can come back to our health by removing the obstructions, and the health is actually there.
That's right. Yep. We were designed to be healthy. There's nothing in nature that was not designed to thrive. Simple as that.
The health is just there. We just get the obstructions out of the way and allow the health to be realized again.
Exactly.
Right. And so we just, it could be an incorrect thought, like protein, like vitamins, like minerals, like medication, like a disease. All of these
that's a big
incorrect thoughts that we may have become attached to. Like, I have this identity of a certain disease that we may have accepted as our truth. Might have been in our life for many, many years. We've attached ourselves to it. We've identified to it. We have to overcome it and realize that we can be completely healthy. We can be completely healed. We can overcome any pain. We can overcome any disease. We can overcome anything that's in our bodies. I said
and it. I absolutely love that.
But she said more of it. She said it more.
I love it. And actually, what's awesome about that whole thing that you went on, it was like boom, and it just skyrocketed at the end. I was like, yeah. But I love that, because like one of the things, like especially with perception, is clearing our perceptive lens. I think that's a big one, because like you said, with protein, you had this program put in you, and especially with your history of weightlifting and championship, I mean, you succeeded. You were at the peak. And you were at the peak of the pro-protein people,
Yes.
And that says a lot right there. And what's really awesome though is like how you realize, and how we all realize and come over time to realize, wait a minute, if I'm keeping on painting a picture of what I think health looks like, can I really be open to listen to what health really is? You really got to open from the obstructions of the mind, of the programming, and always just say to yourself, wait, I think I know what's going on. How about I just listen and open and receive more information? How about I take a breath and just really ask myself, am I repeating a story just to repeat a story so that that's all I see? And yeah, that's what we're doing all the time. That's why we're huge creators. We're just repeating what we think we see, so that is what we see. So it's really tough. Believe me, it gets really crazy with the metaphysical, but like, yeah, it's crazy. It's that stuff, you guys, that's a big key to, the whole thing about controlling thought and stuff is just being, instead of controlling from the masculine side, which is very directive, right? The feminine is opening and listening. And we got to use both. And we've over hyper masculinized, and we've done a great job altogether learning the masculine. Now we get to come back to full balance, I think. And that's really cool.
I think you touched on a really big one there is, is it even possible to see the truth when you've been so kind of taught and ingrained. And I think
Oh.
you can't really see the full truth at the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
It kind of opens up as we move through the process. So as we step into a little bit more fruit, maybe for breakfast and lunch, and we start using some distilled clean water, and we start moving in that direction. And as our body starts to release some of this toxin and some of this blockage that we have, we'll be able to see and understand and realize more. But we can't when we're under the veil of medication and disease, and we've been stuck and entrenched in that for years. We can't even understand, perhaps.
That's a big one. That's a big one for me. I mean, and like when I was going through the process, honestly, there were so many times that I got confused because actually the toxins were moving around and getting loosened up in the brain. And I felt it, and I was like, oh, I can't even think straight.
Cloudy.
And I was like, yeah, it was cloudy, and it was just like, this sucks, you know.
Foggy.
What am I doing? But then once I got to the other side, all of a sudden it was like, oh, this is clear as day.
It's a straight line. It's so simple. Yeah.
Right. And it's not even about the behavioral practice. I'm talking like reason practice and just being clear and open to listening. And you're like, oh, is this so? No, you're not even asking, is this so? It's like asking if the sun rises every day. You just know. It's like there's not even a question.
And inner knowing and inner certainty that that you're doing the right thing, that you're in alignment, you're in integrity, you're living with integrity. You know, we're coming from across the planet, but we're talking about the same things, and we're realizing the same things, and we're coming to the same place and the same realization because it's within all of us.
That's right. The truth cannot be hidden for long. It has nothing to boast, nothing to say anything about that. I mean, it's in all documents, whether you're looking at the historical documents of the tradition of the Christians or the tradition of the Islam or the tradition of the Hindu. It doesn't matter. This truth is universal. That they say it, that for which is truth will always stand. It has no need to boast. It has no need to prove anything because it just is. And so, it's only the mind stuff that makes us think we want to prove something or make us think that we have to strive for something. That mind stuff is just mind stuff. That's just the nature of the mind. And it's cool. Like, I don't hate the mind for its nature, just like I don't hate fire for its nature. I mean, I could hate fire because it burned down my house maybe, or something like that. But actually fire also gave us the ability to keep warm, or to light our way at night,
Touching on that bad and good, there is no real bad and good. It's negative and positive. It's duality. It's two energies that exist on our planet, masculine and feminine, that are always kind of in a constant sharing that has to go on. There's the North Pole and the South Pole, and it exists. It's not that one is good and one is bad, and we can't have we've got to get away from this like attachment to I only want this experience or I only want that experience in my life. As long as we keep polarizing that one experience, we're the ones that are creating the negative situations in our life. So we've got to get away from this attachment to any one thing and this push away, some repulsion from the other. Because as you repulse something and put like anger and frustration to something, you're putting a lot of energy to that situation.
Yeah.
So you're attracting it. You're attracting it.
Of course.
This is the law of attraction, right? What we focus on grows. What we focus on negatively or positively grows.
That's right. And actually, and one of the keys that I found actually recently was in this, what's called Vipassana. And Vipassana is actually the ancient practice of the Buddha. It's the actual preserved real practice. And it's not like, oh, we have the secret practice, this is it. No, like, just test it. You'll know it is the right practice.
Can you share a little bit more about that? What did you do?
Yeah. So Vipassana, I went to a 10-day silence meditation retreat. They're donation based only. They run all around the world.
They're here in Canada.
And it was straight from the Buddha himself, and it got preserved in a very small country next to Bhutan. Oh my gosh, I can't think of the name all of a sudden. But anyway, it's in the east. And it just was carried forward by a very small group of people. And the reason why it kept moving forward was because everybody in that town knew that like their mind's lens would get cleaned, because that's what this does. Is Vipassana is the practice of being with your aversion, being with your cravings. In other words, what you really want, but not getting, creates suffering. What you really don't want but keeps showing up creates suffering, right? So what do we get to do? We get to just learn how to be in presence of that and train our body's positioning and energy to just be like, okay, we're not going to respond to this right now. We're just going to breathe, because it's just like the air or the birds singing or nature happening, right? This is just nature happening. I happen to help nature in this case because I created the bad or the good. But really what's happening here is I'm just coming back to full acceptance so that I can say, wow, I want to see what this thing really is versus what I keep putting on it.
So a negative circumstance happens in your life. It's not really a negative circumstance. It's just a circumstance. And you can find joy within it. And if you can find joy within it and accept it, then you can get the power that's behind it, and you can learn the valuable lesson that's within it. So mindfulness is very important, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. That's right. That's what Vipassana is. It's the origin of mindfulness practice, and it's a very
huge mindful practice. It's a 10-day silent mindfulness practice. It's a huge mindfulness practice. But before we go any further, let me just touch on that, because you brought up the Buddha, and I love the Buddha, and I've studied and practiced the Buddha. So, but I know a lot of people, I think, especially here in the West, with a Christian background, as soon as you you say spirit, or you start saying Buddha, or you're talking about mindfulness, I think some people go, whoa, like that's the devil. Like it's you're worshiping another god, another idol. So like, can you ease that for anybody, Amanda? Can you talk about that?
Yes, of course. I love doing that. That's one of my favorite practices. Thank you for asking me to. So I grew up devoutly Roman Catholic. And as a matter
I come from a strong Christian background in my past. I've studied deeply in Christianity.
Yeah. And so what we're doing here is when we say this is what the Buddha shared, or this is what mindful, we say the word mindfulness, stuff like that.
Or yin and yang, or
spirituality, like you said. Like those kind of things, or like what might be considered like strange, make you feel a little weird. Yeah. And I went through those stages. There's a funny story about that. But but basically what we're doing is, in that moment, if we immediately reject those things or get freaked out, like that's okay. But like what's happening there is we're also closing ourselves from hearing anything. And because we fear that we're going to lose the good thing that we have. And I think that's actually a very natural response. I think it's a good response. And even though we talked about good or bad, but actually I'm validating, because it's very important. Because when you have that type of response, like that makes a lot of sense. You want to keep what's good going in your life, right? No problem. And I will say this, when there's such a time when you're ready to hear something interesting, or that you need another element that you need in your life, like, wow, I want to get really good at like doing marathons. Well, I tried it on my own. I tried doing this or that, but it seems like I'm not really getting the right information for doing good marathons, because I can't even run around the block right now, or something like that. Like you've got evidence for yourself saying, gee, maybe I should be looking at something else. And so that's when you start looking for things that are just facts. Like it's just facts. Like when the Buddha passed on certain information, or mindfulness, all these terms, like try not to get stuck on the terms here, because what's happening here is we're just trying to communicate things like, hey, this hat is pink. We're not trying to have you believe that this is pink. I'm not trying to have you worship that this is pink. It's just, hey, there's some information here that I think you can apply to. It's a universal information. So like there's universal information that we found out for the best training methods to run a marathon, for example. These are best training methods for your mind. These are best training methods for your body. It's universal. It doesn't negate Christianity. It doesn't negate any belief system or structure you have, except for the ones that block you towards your progress in those areas. So if you have a belief system that I believe running is evil and I should never run, well, then it's going to block your progress towards getting to a marathon then, for example.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. And that's it. And unfortunately, a lot of I'm not trying to bash Christianity. I'm not trying to bash anyone's religion or thought process, but most thought processes, most thought schools, unfortunately, may contain elements that try to keep that thought school alive.
That's right. Because everything is a living entity in creation, including mind constructs and religions and things like that. Though all those things are thought products that are alive and they want to keep perpetuating themselves, whatever it is. That's why when you create one thing, it's eternal. It's always going to be there, unless we mindfully remove that creation.
So I like to think of it and explain it this way, as I say, like, you know what? God, or whoever that is, that universal force, that entity that created all things, created this entire world.
Yeah.
Not just the Christians and not just the Buddhists and not just the Islams. Like, not just one of us. It's two hands created everything that is here. And
that's right.
You know, and information was shared with the right hand, and information was shared with the left as he put out his hands to create this planet. He left bits and pieces of himself and messages to everyone on this world, and some messages are received in the East, and some are received well in the West. And but there's information to be received in the East that people in the West need to hear. And there's information in the West that people in the East need to hear. And there's information on the South and the North that people all over this planet need to hear and have. And we've got to open ourselves up and see that there is valuable information and messages all over this planet. Don't get stuck reading one book and think that you've got all of the answers of this planet in one book.
I love that. I love how you put it. It's perfect. And even in the Christian texts, it even says that, we are all one body of Christ, as they say. It's all one body, moving and functioning. Yep. And in the East, they look at it like this: that the Shiva Shakti, the male masculine, it's the movement of the whole. Everything is the whole, the one. So let's leave ourselves open to all things and nourish ourselves from all things and information from all places. And don't just get stuck in one spot and looking only under one spot and afraid that you'll be punished maybe if. Oh, that's a big one. I think a lot of people are afraid that they're going to be doing something evil if they look under another rock, or if they look in another place, or if they practice mindfulness, or if they try this, or they think that they're going to be doing something bad to themselves. So and actually, I'll share a little story there. It's when I first started practicing yoga, actually, I found it through Pilates, and it turns out that Pilates was designed by Joseph Pilates, who was a yogi, and he learned yoga, and that's how he developed Pilates, was based on yoga. So then I kept on getting, like, the next thing after practicing Pilates, I was shown this cool yoga program free on PBS, and I was like, okay, I'll do it. And so I started doing it because I'm interested in health and fitness. I'm at a convent right now, and this is the pilgrimage point, just so you know. They're starting mass. So it's kind of funny, we're talking about the Catholicism, and I'm in a mass. It's cool. So let me know if you can hear me okay.
I can hear you. I can hear you. Keep going.
All right. Okay. So anyway, so then then I tried the yoga practice, and it's hatha yoga, so you're mainly sitting around and not really moving much. And I was like, wow, this is interesting. And she was explaining that it's a science, it's not a religion. Just, what we're doing is we're regulating our breath so that the body can follow suit for what desired result we want. So like if you're panting and quick breath, you're going to feel like you're running and racing, and that's what it does to your body. It makes the blood move really fast, just like you're running and racing. But if you slow down the breath and get down to a really deep, slow breathing, it's like you're going to sleep, and that's exactly what you're doing. So all I was doing was understanding. That was my first introduction. But then this is the funny part, I attended my first yoga class. That was freaky, okay? And when they went in there and they're playing this music that sounds all like, oh, I'm like, oh my God, are they tricking me to worship another God? What the hell is happening here? I freaked out, quite honestly. I freaked out. I'm like, what the F? And like, it took everything in me to stay in that class. And then when I left, I got the hell out of Dodge. I was like, this is weird. I feel weird about this. How come yoga wasn't like how I saw on TV? Like, this is really crappy, scary stuff. Like, and then I made some question: am I worshiping Satan? Am I worshiping the devil?
Think this happens to a lot of people.
Yeah, and I got worried, but that's natural.
But if you think of the creator of all as being an all-loving being that really does love us, and really does want the best for us, and really does want us to explore, and really wants us to ask questions, and really wants us to understand, and really wants us to look and understand. And actually what will happen is once you get a step out of that fear box that you're in, because it's always fear that blocks us. Once you step out of that fear box that you're going to be punished, there is no punishment. There is no punishment. There is no good and bad. It's just all an experience. And as you step out of that box and step into more in the world, you'll actually be rewarded for it. So don't you worry about that. Just take a step forward. Take a little step forward. Amanda, I could talk to you for a day, I think, for a day with ease. But you know what? I've got to cut it off because my next appointment's going to be here any minute. I would love to do this again some other time, but I really want to make sure take some time. How do people get in touch with you if they want some coaching, if they want some assistance, if they want to dig deeper, if they want to do more detox, if they want to move forward in their life? Amanda, what do they do?
They contact me, Amanda Dondelinger, on Facebook. You can find me there. It's a very unique name. D as in David, O-N as in Nancy, D as in David.
We'll make sure that we tag you on this post when we post this video. Be able to grab it through the tag.
There you go. And it's Nancy G-E-R. So I'll just finish that. Yeah, thank you for that. And then also you can find me on magnetopian.com, which we can put a link to as well.
Is that your website? Is that a website?
That's my website. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So we'll get the website link from you. We'll make sure we link you on this video. We'll be uploading this video to YouTube. I think this has got some valuable nuggets in it for a lot of people. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
I look forward to doing this again. We will for sure do this again. I love your energy. I love your touring the world. There's so much more we could talk about.
I know. Sounds perfect, John. Have a great day, everyone. Thanks so much.
See you later.